So in total, there were 21 children taken into protective custody related to the mother and father.
You heard right, 21 children, all taken into DCFS custody.
America, what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. Imagine walking into a house and finding 21 children, all born through surrogate mothers, sitting in rows of desks like they're in some kind of factory school. But that's just the beginning of this absolutely insane story. The couple running this operation wasn't just exploiting surrogate mothers and abusing children. They were also managing a criminal enterprise involving 84 boxes of magic mushrooms, illegal gambling operations, firearms disguised as cell phones, and connections to a foreign national who was already convicted of running 800 fraudulent asylum applications. We're talking about Guojun Zhang and his wife, Silvia Zhang, from Arcadia, California, who created what can only be described as a baby factory while simultaneously running drugs and gambling operations. This case has everything: human trafficking, child abuse, immigration fraud, drug trafficking, illegal gambling, and firearms violations, all connected to one massive criminal network that's been operating right under our noses.
Arcadia police continue to investigate a couple that was suspected of running a surrogacy business out of their home. But it's not clear if they had any clients other than themselves. 21 of their children, many they had through surrogates, are now in the custody of LA County Children and Family Services.
What is up, guys? Tyson here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story was actually sent to me by a subscriber a while back, and now that the case has evolved into something much more sinister, we need to break down what's actually happening here and why it represents everything wrong with our current system. Let's start from the beginning for anyone hearing this scandal for the first time, because the details are absolutely mind-blowing. Guojun and Silvia Yang are a couple living in Arcadia, California, who had 21 children, every single one born through surrogate mothers, all living in their home.
All right, now to a bizarre story. In Southern California, a couple there under arrest and charged with child endangerment after police found their home packed with 21 children.
Think about that for a second. 21 kids, all from surrogates under one roof. This wasn't a family, this was an operation. And when Child Protective Services started investigating, they found evidence that will make you mad.
The court documents also show images of teachers and nannies inside the Arcadia home with a group of children in 2 rows of desks. Detectives wrote that this image shows on the left an adult hitting a child in the face, while another child on the right does squats. This one shows another child getting spanked while face down on a desk.
Court documents reveal images showing children sitting in rows of desks like they were in some kind of factory school. But worse than that, detectives found evidence of systematic abuse. Images show an adult abusing a kid while another kid does squats. Pictures of children getting spanked while face down on the desk in what appears to be a controlled institutional environment where children were being physically harmed.
Arcadia police say they took 15 kids from this home into protective custody after a 2-month-old baby came to the hospital with severe head trauma.
In my opinion, this wasn't a home. This was a child abuse factory disguised as a family residence. Images show teachers and nannies, rows of desks, and a controlled environment that looks more like a detention facility than a family home. But here's where the story gets even more disturbing. While Child Protective Services was investigating the surrogacy nightmare, they discovered that Zhang wasn't just running a baby factory. He was also managing a business complex in Monte where a whole different set of crimes was taking place. The Monte operation is where this case explodes into something much bigger than just surrogacy abuse. We're talking about a sophisticated criminal enterprise that included illegal gambling, drug trafficking, and firearms violations.
But just a few miles from the home is this El Monte commercial property complex managed by Xuan. According to court documents, you're looking at gambling machines and stashes of psilocybin mushrooms found inside that complex.
Police seized 84 boxes of psilocybin mushrooms, cannabis, concealed firearms disguised as cell phones, and illegal gambling machines. This wasn't some small-time operation. This was a sophisticated criminal enterprise operating multiple illegal activities simultaneously.
Gaming machines have also been found during multiple searches of the complex, and in this court document, police say their investigation into Mon others led them to guns and wads of cash.
The firearms were disguised as cell phones, which tells you everything you need to know about the level of sophistication that we're dealing with. These people weren't amateurs. They were running a professional criminal operation with multiple revenue streams. But wait, folks, it gets worse. Meet Heron Dragon Ma. The man court documents identify as the ringleader of the gambling and narcotics activity. This guy was described as a foreign national, unlawfully present in the United States, and, get this, a convicted felon.
According to the court documents, back in 2014, he went to jail after being convicted for being the mastermind and ringleader of a fraudulent immigration scheme, who helped file approximately 800 fraudulent asylum applications on behalf of Chinese nationals.
800. This man was running an immigration fraud factory, and somehow he was still in the country running more criminal operations. Let me repeat that. 800 fraudulent asylum applications. This foreign national was already convicted of massive immigration fraud, and instead of being deported, he was allowed to remain in the United States, where he continued to build criminal enterprises. How is this even possible? The financial scope of this operation is staggering. Police found wads of cash during their investigation, and we're talking about a business complex, multiple properties, the resources to pay for 21 surrogate pregnancies, and enough money to run illegal gambling and drug operations simultaneously.
But Ma and Shen are now being connected to more recent crimes police say unfolded here in El Monte.
Think about the math here. Surrogate pregnancies can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 each. Multiply that by 21 children, and you're looking at potentially millions of dollars just for surrogacy arrangements. And in the business complex, gambling operations, the drug inventory, we're talking about a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise.
So it's kind of set up like a hotel, a big giant lobby, and all the rooms are like suites.
And like around what I can only describe as a hotel desk, and a gentleman sitting behind it like a clerk.
But here's what really gets me fired up about this situation. The city of El Monte is now seeking to declare these properties a public nuisance and is going after Zhang, Ma, and their co-conspirators for tens of thousands of dollars in fines. Tens of thousands of dollars in fines. Are you kidding me? Where's the federal prosecution? Where's ICE? Where's the serious criminal charges that match the scope of these crimes? We have a foreign national who was already convicted of immigration fraud involving 800 fake asylum applications, and he's still in the country running drug and gambling operations. How is this possible?
And now back to this new abatement. The city of El Monte is seeking to have that business property be declared a public nuisance. It is also seeking to slap tens of thousands of dollars against Shen, Ma, and all the other defendants named in here.
The fact that Zhang and Zhang were arrested and then released while their investigation continues is absolutely unacceptable. These people were running what appears to be a child abuse factory while simultaneously managing drug and gambling operations. They should be in federal custody, not walking free while investigators continue their investigation. This case exposes massive problems in the surrogacy industry that nobody wants to talk about. When you can produce 21 children through surrogates and house them in what appears to be an abusive institutional setting, something is fundamentally broken in our regulatory system.
As for the surrogates now finding out the children they carried are in foster care, experts say it's a lot to process.
To find out that the possibility of something different is truly a loss. Like, there's grief because it's a loss of what you thought you were giving. It's a loss of the identity around, you know, carrying someone's child and doing something for them. And the possibility, I can imagine, of the fear of kind of like, you know, is the baby that I brought into this world going to be safe, going to have a nice life?
The surrogacy industry operates with minimal federal oversight, which creates opportunities for exploitation that criminal organizations are clearly taking advantage of. These people were essentially running a baby factory using surrogate mothers to produce children who were then subjected to systematic abuse.
All went well medically, and the baby was born March 13th. But 2 months later, Kayla learned the baby she carried was not with mom and dad.
She is in a foster home. It's kind of worst case scenario, something that is almost unbelievable unless you're living it.
Images from this case show what happens when surrogacy arrangements are used not to help families, but create controlled environments for child exploitation. The children were living in institutional settings with teachers and nannies, following rigid schedules and subjected to physical punishment. This raises serious questions about how many operations like this are currently running. If Guojun and Zhang could operate for years with 21 children in these conditions, how many other criminal organizations are exploiting the surrogacy industry?
Department of Children and Family Services investigated removing the rest of the couple's children from their custody, but the number is staggering.
The fact that this operation continued for years without detection shows the massive failures in our child protection system. 21 children were living in abusive conditions while their quote-unquote parents ran criminal enterprises, and nobody noticed until someone finally reported it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. How does somebody like Heron Dragon Ma remain in the United States after being convicted of immigration fraud involving 800 fake asylum applications? This represents a complete failure of our immigration enforcement system.
The court document calls Ma a foreign national, unlawfully present in the United States, and a convicted felon. According to the court documents, back in 2014, he went to jail after being convicted for being the mastermind and ringleader of a fraudulent immigration scheme.
Ma should have been deported immediately after his 2014 conviction. Instead, he was allowed to remain in this country where he continued building criminal networks and exploiting illegal operations. This is exactly what was wrong with our system.
The American Society for Reproductive Medicine sets guidelines.
And agencies are expected to follow these guidelines, but they're guidelines. They're not hard and fast rules, and there's no enforcement, which is why I think things like this are allowed to happen and have happened and probably will continue to happen.
This case represents everything wrong with our past approach to immigration and criminal justice. We have foreign nationals running immigration fraud schemes, child abuse operations, drug trafficking, and illegal gambling. And the strongest response we can muster is a civil lawsuit seeking to declare their properties a public nuisance. Where are the federal charges? Where's the RICO prosecution? Where's ICE removing the foreign national who's been committing crimes for over a decade? The response to this case, in my opinion, has been completely inadequate, given the scope of the criminal enterprise.
Yeah, Sharon, Sandra, there are still so many questions surrounding this situation. But people I spoke with who work in the surrogacy industry say what happened in this case is a perfect example of why there's a need for more oversight and regulation.
For months, investigators have been trying to get Zhang and Zhang to speak with them, and they've refused. That tells you everything you need to know about their guilt and their contempt for American law enforcement. This case isn't just one criminal family. It's a case study on how foreign criminal networks exploit our broken system while our agencies fail to coordinate an effective response. You have immigration fraud going unpunished, child protection agencies overwhelmed, criminal enterprises operating openly, and federal agencies that didn't coordinate.
This isn't the only story like this. And this is maybe the only one where we actually know where the children are.
As for how the couple was able to start their own agency, Hansen says pretty much anyone can. There's no licensing requirements in California.
The surrogacy industry needs some serious federal oversight. When you can produce 21 children through surrogates and house them in what appears to be abusive institutional settings, something is fundamentally broken in our regulatory system.
Surrogacy laws vary state by state, and there are no federal regulations.
Every American should be outraged by this case. You have foreign nationals running immigration fraud schemes, child abuse operations, drug trafficking, and illegal gambling. The 21 children in this case deserve justice. The American communities being victimized by these criminal networks deserve protection, and the taxpayers funding these failed agencies deserve accountability. America, this surrogacy scandal represents everything that was wrong with our approach to immigration enforcement, child protection, and criminal justice. We had a system that allowed convicted immigration fraudsters to remain in the country, enables criminal organizations to exploit vulnerable children, and the response to multiple million-dollar criminal enterprises with civil fines.
Police say while Silvia Zhang and Guojun were arrested and released, their investigation into them and what went on inside this home continues.
The Arcadia Police Department is conducting an ongoing investigation in conjunction with the FBI.
This case isn't over, but it already exposes massive systematic failures that put our children and communities at risk. The fact that this operation could continue for years, involving 21 children in abusive conditions while running drug and gambling operations, shows that our system was fundamentally broken, and that's not acceptable. Thanks, Joey B. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on on the next one.